Stray, the cat game. Cats. People fucking love cats, and they do so for obvious reasons. As pets, they are cute, and as animals, cats' antics are endearing. Yes, even though they are little agents of chaos that terrorize every conceivable piece of your household furniture. Because of course, your IKEA fall collection doesn't stand a fucking chance against those sharp claws of death. I mean, let's be honest here. Your home decor skill sucks, and the cat knows it. Yet, even despite this, we can't help but love them. Hell, even a dog-focused heathen like myself understands the appeal of cats. They are simultaneously very pettable, but they're also incredibly independent and can live on their own in the wild if necessary. Though that's overall not good for the environment. They do kill lots of wildlife to the point that they are often viewed as an invasive species, which is the one thing that cats have in common with the Burmese python, unfortunately. But let's ignore that troubling factoid, because otherwise cats are the shit. They have a lot of personality and can be very loving when they warm up to their adoptive human families. They are wonderful pets, usually, and they are on the whole pretty damn awesome. This love for our feline friends influenced the development of Stray, a smaller budget game puzzler developed by Blue 12 Studios where you play as a cat in a post-apocalyptic world after the human race went extinct. In the title, our unnamed four-legged hero is separated from their kitty cat pack and fell into a dark pit of doom, becoming lost in the process. Once underground, the cat discovers a secret underground city and society of sentient robots and machines with their own dreams, aspirations, and problems, and from there, the Stray, alongside a floating android companion named B12 that we all find along the way, must make this perilous journey through robot society, solve problems, and evade dangerous creatures in the hopes of reuniting with their cat pack. Stray is a really good game, and it works because it is firstly and foremostly an ode to cats. Like, let's not make a mistake here. The developers clearly have an understandable affectation for these adorable little critters, and we can see this due to the way that the game was designed and the way it controls. For one thing, there is a dedicated meow button, which means that Stray is automatically a 5-star experience because, you click a button and the cat goes meow. Game of the year right here. And the player-controlled cat can jump on shelves and furniture, knock items off ledges, take literal cat naps, beg passersby for attention, and claw on rugs and other household pictures like the cute little demon that it is. And through the controls alone, the developers at Blue 12 Studios were clearly enamored by these chaotic yet lovable fuzzy fiends. Through the way the game plays, we can see how much the developers cared for them. Furthermore, the game's underground setting perfectly complements the way in which the cat controls. See, the underground city is a perilous place. There are tall yet decaying buildings our cat hero can jump to and from, and there are pieces of the environment that our protagonist cat must manipulate in order to access other areas. And the city was designed in a very interesting way, both in terms of playing the game and also for shifting away from a conventional point of view. Mostly because, unlike other games, we see Stray's world from the perspective of a small animal. And that perspective is a very large yet fascinating point of view. The game simultaneously establishes how dangerous this environment is for a little animal, all while showcasing how this underground city is a perfect place for a cat to perform kitty-cat gymnastics. This gothic locale is a great setting for a cat-based game. Hell, the inspiration for the game's underground setting came even before the idea of having a cat be the main protagonist, but the studio ultimately decided to focus on cats because the locale and a cat protagonist made logical sense here. There's a lot of objects to make ill-advised jumps from, after all. So with that, Blue 12 Studios made the sound decision to make a cat the focal character of their game, and this was a wonderful creative choice that opened up new avenues of game design for the studio, because not only are we the player journeying through a dark and moody noirish post-apocalyptic cyberpunk dystopia, wow that's a mouthful, but we are embarking on this quest as a cute yet small animal who has the agility of a tiger, all while possessing the vulnerability of a rabbit on Xanax. And creatively speaking, this was a great idea. Stray's world is tonally haunting in its implications, all whilst having a sense of fun and adventure given how the player must navigate this realm as a cat, and thus making the cat the playable character in this specific environment was an inspired choice here. It is different and it is interesting. However, the setting is still secondary here, because Blue 12 Studios ultimately created the version of Stray that we all know and recognize today due to a love for cats, as evidenced by a Screenrant interview with Blue 12 producer Swan Martin Regret, to quote, "About 80% of the team are cat owners and cat lovers, and we are definite intensely passionate about this animal and the bond that we can have with them. That was really quite natural for us to try to make a game that is really a love letter to them, and portraying them as realistically as possible was something that really drove us along the way." End quote. In other words, the game could only be pulled off by a development team who were truly devoted to cats, and that comes across in the end product. When playing Stray, there is a sense of adoration for these furry little animals. The game truly captures our fondness for cats. This is especially apparent when comparing Stray to other games with animal protagonists or characters. See, many animals in other games like Animal Crossing or Night in the Woods feature animals with human-like qualities. They walk on two legs, talk, go to work, live in houses, and etc. But Stray differs from most other games with animal characters, because in Stray, we just control a regular cat. There's no talking, no office occupation, or house for the player to go back to. The player just experiences the game's world as a regular cat. That's it. We just play a video game version of a real-life house cat. And in Stray, Blue 12 Studios captured that feeling perfectly. Unlike other games with animal protagonists or characters, the player feels like they are embodying a real animal here, which is a very unique and novel experience. However, the game's story and its cat protagonist doesn't necessarily make logical sense. After all, this is very much a story-driven game, one with clearly defined characters as well as narrative agency that our kitty cat protagonist must drive, because, you know, we control them, which is something that doesn't make logical sense on a storytelling level. Because let's be clear here, Stray does not follow an anthropomorphized cat or a super intelligent kitty, but instead follows a typical normal nondescript meowster. And on the one hand, that's Stray's appeal. There was a wholesome novelty of playing as a regular cat with typical cat abilities like sleeping, scratching, and demanding to be the center of attention whilst still shoving its ass in the air with an I don't give a fuck attitude. And this point alone made a lot of people want to play this game. In fact, Stray was Blue 12 Studios' most successful launch, meaning that many a gamer hauled ass to the Cat Girl Emporium and deposited some cash to play this game. Hell, some users even modded the game so that they could customize the appearance of the protagonal cat so it would have an appearance akin to their own cats at home, because truly playing as a normal kitty cat is all part of the experience here. Yet, on the other hand, this focus on the cat being the main protagonist doesn't necessarily make sense narratively. See, our cat goes on an adventure, a journey where our lovely Stray interacts with the environment and robotic locals in order to follow both the clear objective of trying to escape the underground city, as well as a series of smaller missions that ultimately serve this ulterior goal. And that last part is kind of an issue. While the main priority of a cat searching for its lost pack and traveling home is a logical point on a narrative level, because most pet owners have had to handle a dog or a cat that ran away or was accidentally separated from their home. But when it comes to following specific objectives like solving puzzles, seeking out specific objects, placing those said specific objects at other places, take directions from robots, read street signs, and etc., the game really strains the suspension of disbelief, because obviously a regular cat can't do these things. As anyone with a cat can tell you, they don't follow directions, they don't follow complex goals involving reading, and they don't understand what it's like to be sympathetic to robots who are struggling under robot authoritarianism, because obviously a normie cat doesn't understand the basic workings of autocratic government structures. The fool. And while sure, the Stray's floating robot companion B12 can hand-wave some of these criticisms away, because unlike the cat, B12 actually can communicate with people and has a high level of intelligence that could possibly assist in the game's overarching narrative, but the game clearly establishes that the Stray takes charge here, that the cat's the one with the narrative agency, and thus our main protagonist cat does all these things that an average kitty can't do. Even when taking B12's assistance into account, the Stray vastly outperforms the cognitive abilities of a typical cat, meaning that for a game starring a realistic feline, Stray's main protagonist is notably unbelievable, which is overall ironic. But with that said, this contradiction, or cattradiction if you will, doesn't make Stray a bad game. In fact, the opposite is true. Stray is very good despite the ludonarrative dissonance, because honestly, the developers at Blue 12 Studios were in the right to create the game in the way that they did. After all, Stray has two main sources of inspiration, which is to say its interesting science fiction dystopia and its love for the average kitty cat. And Stray as it is more of a compromise between these two visions, because when there's a deep lore-rich world that stars a normal animal, something has to give in the logic department if there's going to be a cohesive, succinct, and transformative narrative. Certain technicalities must be shed in favor of delivering an emotionally fulfilling story. And that's okay. Even if Stray takes many cognitive liberties with its protagonist, it's still a quality experience that weaves a compelling narrative from an unconventional four-legged outcome. outlook. Its underground sci-fi world feels real and lived in, the culture of the robots is fascinating, and most importantly, it's awesome to navigate a video game narrative as a regular cat. And as a pet owner, it's hard to argue against that. Stray has unique appeal, even despite how it ignores its technical storytelling restraints. And awesomely enough, the game is all the better for it, because most of us fucking love cats. And with that, that was the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like rating, share, subscribe, ring the bell, and leave a comment telling me what you think of Stray. Also, please consider checking out my Patreon page. $1 a month gets you onto my Discord server, and $5 a month at minimum allows you to start making essay requests. The link to my Patreon is in the description. And speaking of Patreon, I just want to thank my patrons, particularly my high tier ones in David, Samantha, Devlin, Mom, and Morgan. Thank you so much for supporting what I do. Love y'all.